You have to have people who are in positions of authority, drawing a bright red line, saying we will not tolerate this, and frankly, you do it in a nonpartisan way. I know in the last segment there was some discussion about whether or not you had people engaged in this activity on the left. We haven't seen the level of organization, the use of military tactics, and those sorts of things. But I encourage everyone who's going to do this to be unequivocal that it is the behavior and not the ideology that we are going to take action against. We need to plan for early voting, obviously election day, and then anything that may give rise to, again, these illegal paramilitary groups to assume any kind of role in deciding the course of our democratic system. If you look back and you think about what happened in Florida in the contested election between Al Gore and George W. Bush, there was a scene where a number of individuals decided to storm a local county clerk's office. That's the kind of thing that local officials should be planning on now. They should be, and again, regardless of the outcomes, whether it come from the left, whether it come from the right, you have to have security plans in place for election warehouses. You have to have perimeters set up for county clerk's offices. You have to have measures in place, and you have to have advanced communication from law enforcement, district attorneys, and others, making it unambiguously clear to everyone that legal action, both civil and if necessary criminal, will be taken for any individuals that's engaged in this conduct. And unfortunately, there's a real hesitance, this idea that if we talk about it too much, we may foment this sort of thing. And I understand that perspective to a certain extent, but we were about to launch our own social media campaign, and it's going to start with, these are the penalties for this is what a 4th-degree felony looks like in New Mexico. This is how long you could go to prison if you show up with a gun and threaten a fellow citizen when they're standing in line. And people should know that now, unfortunately, because they're getting the wrong signal from the leader of this country. And from those of us who are not in that position, we have to push back and say, no, don't go vote twice, and don't think you're there as a self-appointed armed election monitor, because there's consequences to that, and you have to let people know what the consequences are without any ambiguity. So that's our perspective.